right. Well, I'm actually celebrating the 13th year of moving into our home today. It's just hard to believe, Carol. I know your family was one of the first families that toured our home back in 2011. We had started the groundbreaking in 2009, and so your family was just curious to see what was happening during construction that took us 32 months. So it was still in construction. And Pat Snyder, if you're the same Pat Snyder, you showed me your home while we were designing our home to get some ideas. So it's going to be interesting at the end of this program to see if you're the same Pat Snyder. I bet you are. You had a wonderful home that was designed for your husband and you, and gave us some great ideas and some dimensions. So what you're seeing on the screen is our home. We're located in Jefferson Township, just a little bit east of Gahanna. So I'm speaking to you from my home office in my manual wheelchair. The home is a 3,500 square foot ranch style home, even though it does have a second floor. That second floor is really a loft. It's not really living space because the only way to get to it is through an elevator. And if there was an emergency, then you wouldn't be able to get out if you were up there. So we have a full lower level that's about 3,500 square feet. It's the equivalent of a four-bedroom home. My husband has an office in the front of the house. I'm located in the back so that we are in direct opposites in terms of where we're positioned in the house so that sound doesn't travel from my corner of the house to his corner of the house. We have our primary bedroom and a guest bedroom and lots of space. It's on an acre and a half. The design, it was done by an architect here in town, Patrick Manley. It is modeled after Frank Lloyd Wright in terms of its prairie style architecture. It has the portico in the front, which is great, so that when you're coming in with bad weather, you are covered up by the roof of the portico. We have clear story windows. Our roof is made of recycled aluminum beverage cans. And we do have a solar panel on the back of the house, which is south facing. So what you're seeing is the front elevation on the north side of the house. We have four different bays for the garage. You're seeing two of them. There's another two that are tucked in there to the left. So what we're going to do is take a VIP tour, looking at it from the aspect of what makes life easier and supports aging in place. Mark and I built this home with the intent of never having to leave it, so that should any health event happen or one of us leaves this earth before the other, that this house can still be occupied and support aging in place. My sense is it's a privilege living here for 13 years, and I really look forward to living here as I continue to age in place. Life goes on, as we all know. So let me take you on a little tour so that you can understand my story. It starts with an accident. If any of you are familiar with the bike trails over in Granville, Ohio, that's the photograph on the screen. There is the cracked helmet I was wearing at the time and the announcement from the Granville paper. It was our third wedding anniversary on June 13th of 1998 when suddenly Mark heard what he thought was a gunshot. It wasn't a gunshot at all. It was the sound of a 80-foot tall tree that was collapsing. And in an instant, I was crushed by a 7,000-pound tree, followed by live power lines. So with that, a spinal cord injury that totally changed the trajectory of my health, threatened my life, and changed my direction and my passion, and subsequently what I do for a living in my business. I was at Ohio State University for the summer of '98 in rehabilitation, trying to figure out now what. with a broken neck, a broken back, broken ribs, broken sternum, and no ability to move from the waist down at that time. I then came home to the house in Gahanna. This is the same house where Carol and Denny had met me right outside when I was riding for the first time a three-wheeled recumbent bicycle. This house intensified my disability. It was a two-story home. It had my publishing company in the basement, which was the Healthy Indoor Plant book that I was shipping from the basement. So I couldn't get to the basement. I had to dissolve the publishing company. I couldn't get to the second floor. I couldn't even get into the house for a long time independently. They had a wooden ramp that my neighbors and friends had built, but it was like the luge in the Winter Olympics. There was no way that I could get up and down that ramp that led to the front door. So what you're seeing is the electric porch lift that was a $10,000 modification that was put in later so that I could get into the house. Now realize what life would be like for you if something happened. You had knee replacement, hip replacement, temporary things or permanent things. How would you get into your home? Where would be the easiest route of travel? How many doors are there to your home? In my case, every door of this house had steps to it. So this made the most sense to put a porch lift on and to raise the concrete porch with a wooden deck so that there'd be no steps for me to get in. We had to remove a lot of doors in the house, so I now had no privacy in the bathroom. I couldn't reach a lot of the things in the kitchen that were in storage, so we had to move things around. I couldn't reach the microwave at all. It was above the cooktop, so we had to put another microwave on a counter. Couldn't get into the freezer because it was on top of the refrigerator. Had to use a reacher for a lot of things. It was not a comfortable situation living in that house. When I first came home, I couldn't even roll on the carpet. I was too weak. So every time I wanted to move from one room to another, either my personal care attendant that we hired or Mark had to push me around the house. So that was life for me when I came home in the summer of '98. We knew the house wasn't going to work long term, and it took us a long time to figure out what is universal design. I was reading a magazine one day, and it was a picture of a woman in a wheelchair in her kitchen. And that's when the idea came to me that there was such a concept of universal design. The definition on the screen really has the important components. It's for the majority. It is trying to level the playing field for people with disabilities. The photograph is of Ron Mace, who is credited with the term universal design. He had polio as a child and used a wheelchair. And so with that, in the mid 1980s, he assembled a group at North Carolina State University and came up with this definition that you're seeing on the screen. So it's looking at products and environments for as many people as possible across the spectrum of people with disabilities and people without disabilities, without specialized design. And so when you look at our house, you're going to see how attractive it is to you. And that's what I hope you come away with, saying, Rosemarie, after seeing the universal design features in my home, I would like to see some of those in my home for safety's sake, for comfort's sake, for convenience, and for peace of mind. There's a lot of accessible features and adaptable features, and it should be transparent that it doesn't look specialized. Now, here's another important component. Is universal design equal to the ADA? And as you think about that, the ADA came about in 1990. Universal design was before the ADA. Think of ADA as the legal minimum standards, the criteria for which any commercial space has to apply. It has nothing to do with our residential space. We don't have to comply with ADA standards. The only exception is on fair housing, where money from the government supported the housing. So when we look at ADA, we look at what was the minimum standard and we build upon that for accessibility as we're looking at accessible design and universal design. Now, the 7 principles, I'll refer to some of these as we go through the house. Primarily, you're going to see how equitable use comes to mind in terms of my husband, Mark, is 6'4". Now, he can reach anything, basically, that I can't. As a seated person, I am 4 feet 2 inches tall. If I were to stand up and hold on to the counters, I'm about 5'1". So we're looking at things so that Mark has equitable use, and so do I. The other thing we're going to look at is low physical effort for me to get things off of the shelves. And then we're looking at the size and space for approach and use. I need about a 60-inch diameter so I can turn this wheelchair 360 degrees. So those are the principles of universal design, and some of them you're going to see in action. Take a look at some of these features. In your home, do you have different heights of countertops? Let's look at your kitchen. Or is everything the same height? You're going to see 4 different heights in my kitchen. When you look at your shelves or your drawers, how deep are they and how easy is it for you to get things that are stored in your kitchen? Your plasticware, your bakeware, your skillets, your everyday dishes. Do you have a shower bench built in? What type of washer and dryer do you have? Is it top loaded or front loaded? And then looking at the handles, the hardware on all of your cabinets and all your doors, and your plumbing hardware. Let's take a look at why we're going to recommend lever handles. The other unique thing about our home is when you plug in something in the wall, the plug-in is 15 to 18 inches off the floor. Now, if you went home tonight and measured where you plug in your vacuum cleaner, my bet is it's going to be lower than 15 inches. We're raising it a little so that it's easier, so you don't have to bend down as far to plug something into the wall. Now, on light switches, ours are just a little different. Again, they're 42 to 48 inches above the floor, a little lower, so you can use your elbows easily to turn on the lights. We have a couple of full-length mirrors. That made a lot of sense. And then the toilets in our home, the seat itself is about 17 inches from the floor, making it easier for me to transfer. My wheelchair seat height is 20 inches, so it makes it easier and safer transferring onto a toilet. Here are some other accessible features. We look at the door clearance. If you were to go home and open your door, an interior door, let's say, all the way, and measure that space, it needs to be at least 32 inches of clearance. We've put in 36-inch wide doors to make sure that we had good clearance so that when I'm coming through in the wheelchair, that the wheelchair fits and that my hands and my knuckles won't get scrunched as I'm coming and going out the doors. So all of our doors, interior and exterior, are 36 inches wide. Again, the clear floor space, we'll be seeing that throughout the photos. Our lower countertops, I like a 30-inch high, which is the same height as your kitchen table. So one of the counters in my kitchen is 30 inches so that I can roll under it and use that as my cooking and prep surface. We have lever type handles. We have seats in the shower, grab bars throughout the bathroom. And then we put knee space under many of the sinks and the counters so that I can roll under and have a level surface to operate the cooktop and the sinks. And none of our doors have steps. They're all step-free entrances. The front door, the garage doors, and the doors in and out of the patio. And you're going to see some of that just in a little while. The other thing we're looking at is enhanced lighting. Do you realize the importance of lighting in your home in terms of what the criteria is for having enough natural light coming in? When I look at my home, every room except the guest bathroom has natural light coming in. It helps with our mood. It helps with the ability to read. It really helps in many ways to have as much natural light as possible. And again, the no step entrance, and then taking a look at those thresholds. They're no more than a half inch, so people aren't going to trip. And I don't have to do a wheelie coming in or out of the house on those door thresholds. And we've got two curbless showers that I'll show you one of those in just a few minutes so that I don't have any obstacle. I just roll right into the shower. So to enhance safety, we don't want falls. One fall could lead to another. As many of you may have already experienced falls, as you think back, would there have been something to have helped you so that you wouldn't have had that fall? Would a grab bar have been placed there? Would it have helped if the door was wider? If things were out of your way and you didn't trip on things? If the counters were low enough and you didn't have to climb on a stool, the lever handles on the hardware, having a seat in your shower or a seat in your bathtub, lots of grab bars by the toilet, by the bathtub, by the shower, and then having knee spaces under sinks and counters and entrances free of steps. So these are some basic enhancements that maybe you could make to your home to make that more safe. Take an assessment. What could you do differently? And maybe I can show you some inexpensive ways to do that. They could be do-it-yourself projects. Now, you're familiar with the term sustainability. You'll use products to build our home that were recycled, renewable, environmentally friendly, economical, using less gas, less water, less energy. There's one other element of sustainability, and that's the social sustainability. We often forget about the social sustainability. So it's not just a green concept that we're thinking about. If a home can be lived in throughout a lifetime, that makes it socially sustainable so we don't have to move as we get older and need more adaptive products. And it's visitable by all. So people can come for parties, celebrations without fear of having steps in the way or the door is too narrow or the bathroom is not going to be functional. And what I think about is if it's not accessible, then it isn't sustainable. We need to think about sustainability from the social aspect, not just the economical and environmental. And thinking about the money it would cost to remodel a home, that's not sustainable either. Now, my personal photograph of my mother, Rossetti, at the time she was in an assisted living facility. She lived at home probably through her early 90s. She passed away at 98 and lived in this assisted living facility for 2 to 3 years. I was watching her as she aged. You know, she had had a hip replacement in her 80s. She was walking around somewhat cumbersome and then needed a walker as that age got to her. Of course, her strength, her agility, her fine motor control. She had macular degeneration, so that had to be on the radar, and new glasses. Her hearing was diminished, her sense of taste and smell, her reaction time and flexibility. She couldn't catch herself quite as easily if she was tripping. Mentally, she had dementia and her mobility was definitely compromised. So each of you are going through the process of aging, and some of these changes have been gradual for you, and some of them maybe have not shown up. Or some of you are working with family members who are aging, and you know what I'm talking about as you think about aging and having to compromise some of the features in your home to support aging in place. So what can we do to support vision What can we do so that you don't fall? What can you do if someone has dementia and memory loss to help them in a design of the home? So let me share with you some of those features. I'm hoping you're starting to take note, and maybe some of you are taking notes today, of what features I've already made reference to in terms of what would help in safety, convenience, comfort, and peace of mind so that you could stay in your home and age in place. What are some of those features? Overall, I referenced that 5-foot turning diameter for the wheelchair. The architect put red circles throughout our floor plan so that I knew in the kitchen where those red circles were. I knew where they were in the great room. I knew where they were in the bathroom. So I could do a 360 turn in those areas. Now, by the sinks in the toilet, we need a 30 by 48-inch minimum approach in front of a sink so that the wheelchair can make a front approach and get the space necessary to transfer onto a toilet or to slide a wheelchair under a sink. And then the average adult in a wheelchair, as I mentioned, I'm 4'2". My vertical reach, in terms of the lowest reach, if I were to bend down 18 inches off the floor, is typical from the lowest standard. So if you're putting shelves in or drawers in, don't put anything in those drawers that need to be acquired by someone in a wheelchair, because 18 inches is about the lowest you should be placing things. Now, on the upper side is a 48 inches high. So once you get above 48, it becomes difficult to reach things that are in a drawer or a shelf. So we get that sweet spot from 18 to 48 inches, and that's where storage is a premium. And my rule of thumb is 50% of the things in storage should be reachable from a seated position. And you'll be able to see in my kitchen how we have achieved even more than 50%. Now, as I said, my wheelchair cushion is up 20 inches from the floor. My eye level is right about 4 feet, and that impacts my placement of the thermostat so that I can read it. The house is certified in many ways. You can go to our website, and I certainly invite you to do that to see more of the photos, over 100 articles, the virtual tour, our contributors, and our team. We had over 200 companies that sponsored this home. They contributed the windows, the doors, the roofing, the landscape plants, the hardwood floors, the tile, the appliances. Without our contributors, this project would never have continued to be such a success. It was 32 months in construction. Now, let me tell you, my husband and I were the general contractors, the builder. We hired everybody else as far as contractors and architects and designers. We had never built a house before, and we will never build another one. This was a project of Herculean energy. It took everything we had to complete this project. So go to udll.com. We have 3 national certifications for universal design, making us the top rated universal design home in North America. No one has this type of rating on the universal design programs. Now, we're also a green home, a sustainable home with the U.S. Green Building Council. We have a LEED silver. We also have a gold for the home innovation with the National Association of Home Builders. So those are our green building certification programs. And we also have a National Federation of Wildlife certification for our exterior landscaping. So come on in the front door. Let me help you understand some of these features. This is the gentle slope coming into our home. To measure the steepness, it's about a 1 in 20 slope. So it's very, very gradual. You hardly even notice it as you're coming in by foot, or as you're pushing a manual wheelchair into the home. ADA has a 1 in 12 recommendation, which is more steep. So we wanted it 1 in 20 to be less steep. I also wanted to point out the door width. It is 36 inches wide. Also, we have a motion sensor light that comes on. So at night, when I come home in a ride share or a taxi, that light will come on, and I can see to put the key in the door and very safely come in. Likewise, at night, if somebody comes to the door, that light is on, and I have different peepholes. This one is for Mark. This one is my height, and this one's for Kiko, our cat, if she wants to look out and see the birds. So we have lots of light, a wide door, and a gentle slope coming into the house through the portico. Here's a little close-up of that entrance. We have hardwood flooring throughout the house. Underneath the hardwood flooring is a recycled rubber mat, making it softer when you're walking and quieter. Also, our finish on the hardwood floors is a matte finish, so it doesn't glare. It's softer on your eyes. Here's a close-up right here of that threshold, no more than a ½ inch, so the people coming in from outside can roll right in. People leaving the house can roll right out. You're seeing that lever handle here, and there is the peephole for Mark, for me, and for Kiko. So this is a good example of a door with the universal design properties as well as green. This is a fiberglass door, so it's more energy efficient than if we had put a wood door in. Let's go in from the garage. That would be either one of these bays or the two that are over here. Many of you have garages attached to your home, and you probably have steps to get in. That had to be corrected here. So our garage has an entrance into the house from this garage where there are two cars. We can get into the back foyer. There's also one going in through the kitchen pantry, and then another one that is adjacent to the elevator. So from the garage, you can get into our home with 3 different doors. They're all no-step entrances. How did we do this? Very carefully. When the garage floor was poured with concrete, everything was sloped just gradually. We also put in some ceiling fans like you have in the bathroom so that any of the gases from the garage would exit and there wouldn't be any gases from the combustion of our cars, so that those fans run 24/7. So that's how we did it. This is a level threshold coming into one of the doors, just to showcase how precise we had to be to make that garage pour very carefully so it sloped away from the house. Let's go into the powder room. This is the first room off the foyer. Our interior designer said, "Rosemarie, I don't want to come into your house, see the powder room door open, and see your toilet." So we created a pocket door right here that hides the toilet. That pocket door can go into the wall or can be here to hide the toilet. It has a skylight. As soon as you come into our powder room, the lights go on, the fan goes on. There's plenty of knee space for anyone in a wheelchair to get under the sink. All the hardware on the cabinets are D style. The door has a lever handle, and it is a 36-inch wide door. Let's go on inside and you can get a better look at this as you're seeing that pocket door. So if we had a personal care attendant that needed more space, or someone in a power wheelchair that just wanted that pocket door out of the way, that could be arranged very easily. We put a phone by all the toilets. We put grab bars in by all the toilets, and our toilet seats are 17 inches from the top of the toilet seat to the floor, making those what Kohler calls comfort height toilets. So that's our powder room for all of our guests. Here is the motion sensor and the light control, and you can see that it is, maybe you can understand, it's just a little lower than you might see on a lot of homes, so that you can use your elbows to turn that on and off. Likewise, there's a light switch here. So you can see that's about 42 inches from the floor to the center. Let's go into our primary bathroom. Taking this picture from our bedroom, looking into the master bathroom, we have pocket door here that's 36 inches. We have another one here, 36 inches. On the inside of this pocket door, when it's closed, there's a full-length mirror. Our floors are heated underneath, and so is our towel bar heated. You can see the deck now from our bathtub. Our shower, curbless, is back in here. The toilet room is here. We have porcelain tile, and the transition from the hardwood is absolutely flush. So coming in for nighttime visits, I don't make a noise. I open and close this door very easily. And going into the toilet room, there is a night light that's always on to guide me. Here's an earlier picture of Mark and I soon after we moved in. So you can see what the room looks like from the other perspective. There is knee space here. This is my sink, and this is Mark's sink. And we've got great lighting on the side for putting on makeup or for shaving Mark's face. Plenty of room to get around and to do a 360-degree turn. Now, when we designed the home, we wanted a counter that was lower for me and a little taller for Mark. I was very surprised. There's only a 2-inch differential. Mine's at 33, his is at 35. We can also see that we have the D-style handles, making that easier for someone with arthritis or paralysis, rather than one that you have to pinch and grab. Also, on the plumbing, all of our handles are just one solid handle, a lever style, rather than the two that you have to twist and pull. So everything is very simple with the one lever handle, and great mirrors also. Later on, we realized it would be easier to put something that rolled out from under Mark's sink so that we could store health and beauty aids and cleaning supplies. So we had a company come in and create this custom solution. So all I do is roll that out, and then I can get things that are underneath the sink. I did that in the kitchen as well as here in the bathroom. Going into the Kohler showroom in Kohler, Wisconsin, these toilets were on display. It was a daunting project to figure out what style toilet we wanted. We knew we wanted their comfort height, and we also knew that when we installed it, that the center of the toilet needed to be 18 inches from the sidewall. And that may make sense to you as you think about where to put that grab bar. The grab bar needs to be easy for you so that when you're getting up and out of the toilet, that 18 inches distance is comfortable. And then what height should that grab bar be? That's based on your preference and how tall you are. So measure before someone comes in and installs that grab bar in terms of the height. Now, I don't know if any of you have cats. This is a comfort height toilet, but it's not comfortable as a watering dish for cats. It looks like this cat's about to drown. But this is the toilet room in the primary bathroom. You're seeing the grab bar has been installed, again, that 18 inches from the center of the toilet to the wall, and then was adjusted for my height. Again, the phone is there. We put the toilet paper holder in a vertical position so it was easy to change and would not fall off. So that's the toileting room in that master suite. Also in that toileting room, there were shelves that I couldn't reach. So a simple solution was to install this articulated hardware. It's a do-it-yourself project so that I can just grab that and pull that entire unit down. We put those not only in this bathroom, but there's 2 of them in the kitchen, so I could reach things in the upper cabinets. The tub is a wonderful decking The deck from the floor to the top is the same as the height of my wheelchair cushion, 20 inches. So I simply park my wheelchair here. I slide over. I then hold on to the two grab bars and then pivot myself by kneeling to get into the tub. So I'm kneeling to get in and then I straighten out. I have a handheld shower wand here so I can wash and rinse my hair as well as cleaning the bathtub. And again, a single lever handle faucet to fill the bathtub with a nice 6-foot long hose. So this has been a wonderful relaxation and health benefit for me to be able to enjoy a whirlpool bath experience with natural lighting, but privacy. This photo was taken during construction of the curbless shower, so you could understand that plywood was put on 3/4 of an inch thick so that the grab bar could be installed. Also, the 2x8 for the reinforcement for the shower seat. That's the 2x8, so the shower seat could be installed here. And this little rectangle is the soap niche for me to put my shampoo and conditioner and other soaps so that I could reach it from a seated position. We have glass block in here also so that we have natural lighting coming in. The shower is 4x7. Let's take another look at it. As you're looking at the entry and then going into the shower, seeing that 36-inch wide doorway, no curb to get into it. It's got the heated floor and natural light as well as LED cans up above. As we continue to look at the shower, you're seeing that there's small porcelain tiles with grout here and larger porcelain tiles here. That is to help in getting water out through the grout. There's a slight slope where water then goes to this channel drain in the back. This is Mark's station here. He wanted to have his so he could be standing and showering with his soap niche, and he's got a grab bar here also. So taking a look now on the other side of that shower, this is the shower chair, which is adjustable in height. We've got a shower grab bar here. The controls are here to control the force of the water and the heat of the water, and an ergonomic chair. I really like this cutout here. I find that to be very helpful. So everything is set up so that I can park the wheelchair outside of the shower at that 36-inch entrance. Just lock that wheelchair in place, transfer onto the shower bench first, move the wheelchair out of the way. When I'm done showering, I bring that wheelchair back in, transfer on some towels onto the wheelchair, and roll out of the shower. So it's totally independent. Now, obviously, I had to crop this picture of Mark in the shower, but he realized the importance of grab bars. We could call them balance bars. We've had 3,500 people touring our house so far, and some of them have commented, I wish I had that type of bar to balance myself when I'm pregnant or when I'm shaving my legs. So it's not only for people with disabilities, it's for all people. That floor could be a little slippery. You could lose your footing. So put in some balance bars or grab bars throughout the showers and tubs and next to the toilet. Now, people say, all right, curbless shower. Doesn't water get out of the curbless shower? You don't have a door, you don't have a curtain. Okay, I admit there might be, when Mark is showering, a couple of drops of water that leave the little grout area. But we just have this little squeegee and he just carefully brings it in. But realistically, it's not slippery anyway if he didn't whisk that water back in. But if he doesn't get it all, we just send in the cat vac and the cat will lick it off the floor. So here's a close-up of that sloped floor so that the water does go down the channel drain on that rear wall. It is a coefficient of friction that's appropriate for the ceramic tile on the floor. So it is indeed slip resistant. So there is tile that's made for the floor of showers as you're shopping. Make sure you're getting one that was made specifically to be slip resistant. And the channel drain could be either on the back wall, it could have been slanted towards the front or the side, but we made it so that it's going into the back and all the water gets out of there. All right, my favorite room, the kitchen. Let's go inside. I don't know who of you are cooks, but I'm the cook. Mark is the cleanup guy. There is that 30-inch high counter that I mentioned. This is where I do food prep. On occasions, we might put some more chairs around here when we have a larger group. Mark likes the 40-inch. This is where he does his salad prep. And then the 35-inch counter. If you go home and measure, I'm guessing most of you have a 35 or 36-inch. We also have electric outlets here on the wall. Let me take a little drink. I've been talking for a while. This is your time to put some questions in the chat. You can also see that we have these style handles throughout the entire kitchen area, making that very easy. As we rotate in the kitchen from that center island, let's take a look now, looking at the side-by-side refrigerator. And then the fourth height of counter is the 34-inch, which goes all the way around the cooktop and the sink. The depth is 24 3/4 inch. The distance from the bottom of the wall cabinet to the counter is 14 inches. I bet if you went home, you'd find yours is 18 inches. So what we did was lower the wall cabinets when we installed them a couple of inches. So then we lowered the counter, we lowered the wall cabinet, and that gives us 14 inches so that I can at least reach things in this shelf and in this shelf from my wheelchair. We also put glass here and here. That helps with people with memory loss or dementia. So they know by looking at inside the glass where the coffee cups are, where the glasses are. So we have lots of knee space under the sink. Again, the lever handle faucet. We have the controls for the cooktop. The ventilation and the fan are here at waist level. We have a pot filler, so that's convenient to put water in the in-counter steamer and pasta cooker. And controls are up front for the cooktop. Again, some more knee space underneath. So the kitchen is totally usable by all people. It's not just set up for me. Anybody that comes in here, we've had lots of overnight guests that come in and say, wow, this kitchen is a dream for me too. We have lots of electric outlets on the back walls here and here. And this is where I usually put my blenders and food processors when I'm working in the kitchen here. These things come out of the refrigerator and I can place them here or I can place them here to determine what the next step is. You're seeing one of those pieces that you saw in the bathroom also. Here's one in the kitchen. So now I can reach things that I previously could not reach on that shelf, making it even more than 50%. You're getting a close-up now of I can reach things in the front of this shelf. If I stand up and hold on to the counter, I can reach things in the front of this shelf, but not in the back. And this shelf is totally out of reach for me. So they're just decorator items. The other component, as we talked about that 5-foot turning area, we've got plenty of room here. We have the microwave here, the convection oven here, and we have toe kicks that are 9 by 6 so that I can go forward with my wheelchair and this toe kick will fit underneath so I can go forward. I don't have to be sideways as I'm working around the kitchen. This was in my previous home. Notice how small that toe kick was. There was no way that I could get my footrest of the wheelchair and my feet under that toe kick. And so I always had to be sideways whenever I used the countertop. Our windows are casement style. They have the crank, a lot easier than the double hung that you have to use a lot of force and lift up. These have the locks right here at the bottom, so they're very reachable. They're very easy to operate. You can also rotate that entire pane of glass and wash the outside of the window from inside. And they're very energy efficient casement windows. Now you're seeing the oven with the door that's hinged on the side. Boy, did that make a difference. I bet your ovens have the hinge here and the door comes out here. That limits people. They can't get as close to take things in and out of the oven. This door just pulls out of the way, and I've got total control of whatever I want to put in the oven or put out, and then I can put it right on top of the countertop. So it works for everybody. There just aren't enough of these side hinged ovens out there. Microwaves have always had the side hinge, and that's right here. But I wish more companies did have side hinged ovens. As I roll under the cooktop, you can see all the controls are right here up front. So I don't have to reach across the fire. I can also plug things in easily from either the left side or the right side. And it's very easy to get to the pot filler. I keep all my spices in these pullouts, one to the left and one to the right. So that makes life so much easier with great lighting right above in the hood over the cooktop. At the kitchen sink, I can easily roll under it. We have the lever style handle there. Again, the disposer is towards the back, so it's not in the way, as I had the need to get completely under that sink. The dishwasher was raised about 16 inches from the floor. It's not a special dishwasher, it was just in design. We actually have a drawer underneath so I can put the clean dish towels and get to those easier. But everybody that's toured has commented on having a dishwasher that isn't so low. It's easier for taller people, and it's very easy for me in a wheelchair to load and unload the dishwasher. So what does this cost in terms of universal design features? As we look at, did this house cost more because of universal design? This house cost more because it's a custom luxury home with products that are on the high end. We've got Kohler, we've got Marvin windows, we got Silestone. So yes, our house is a custom luxury home, but don't think that you can't utilize some of the same features of universal design in a Habitat for Humanity home. And you'll see that now as Habitat has included universal design in many of the projects, also in condominiums and apartments. So thinking about your home, don't think about it from the aspect of, I can never include some of these features in my home because I don't have a custom luxury home. What modifications could you make? May I make a few suggestions? Um, of course, if you're doing it in the beginning, it's a lot less than tearing up a room and doing it later. So if any of you are thinking about building or thinking about adding a new bathroom or remodeling the kitchen, by all means, add universal design from the beginning rather than having to retrofit things later and tear things up. So what we do is incorporate, and people bring their floor plans to our home. They bring their architect, they bring their builder, and Mark and I do a very thorough review to prevent costly renovations later, to say, if you're building this from scratch, why don't you do this? And we ask them to consider some changes to the floor plans. So here's some low-cost products that you might consider. This was taken at my previous house. This was the front entrance. I mentioned we had that porch lift that was able to get me up from the sidewalk. We then put on a wooden deck above the concrete porch because I told you there were two steps The two steps are then under this porch, this wooden deck. Then we got a piece of oak, and we just had it so that it was going to be flush. So when I came home from the hospital in a wheelchair, there was no way to get in. But later on, when the porch lift was put in and this decking was put in, then we had this piece of oak to transition that threshold so that it wasn't so cumbersome and I didn't have to do a wheelie to get in and out of the house. So that was a simple solution to be able to get into the house. Now, on throw rugs, I hope that you get rid of all your throw rugs or secure them very well. That is one of the prime reasons that people slip and fall. So thinking about making your home more age in place friendly, see if you can get by without throw rugs and do something different. Here is a property that needed to have a universal design entrance. So they put in a simple ramp, a very easy, probably another 1 in 20 ramp to get in with wood. It's wide enough in terms of getting wheelchairs in and out. They then put in a rubberized door threshold mat that you can get commercially because there was too big of a lip to get into that front door. Let me show it to you closer. You see, there are a couple of little pieces that they did here. There's also some levelers on the bottom so you can raise and lower it to get that flush with the door. So that might be a solution if you're needing to have a no threshold entrance with very minimal cost. Just getting one of these rubber door thresholds. You can probably go online using that phrase and find them, or go to your local hardware or big box store that might sell them. Here's another wonderful idea that costs no more than about 50 bucks. Swing away hinges. They replace your door hinges that you currently have to give you another 2 to 5 inches of clearance. So if you didn't have that 32 inches of clearance, replacing your hinges is a simple solution. Now, some of you may have 2 hinges on the door, some of you may have 3 hinges. So buy what you need. And it's a very simple replacement to put in these hinges. So the door will swing away and give you that clearance. This gentleman did that for his home. He put those hinges right here so that he could actually get into this bedroom where before he didn't have the clearance. A very simple do-it-yourself project. Just search for swing away hinges, and you should be able to find those online or at your hardware store. Grab bars, they come in beautiful colors, decorator items. You can put some in vertically, you can put them in horizontally. And your towel bars, why aren't you putting towel bars in that are actually supportive as grab bars? How many of my friends have towel bars that are falling off the wall? When we're guests in their home, they go, Mark, look, this towel bar is falling. Do you think you could fix it? And what he does is says, let's go over to the big box store and let's pick out a beautiful grab bar. And I'm going to replace your towel bar immediately so that you'll have no worries the next time you think you're falling, getting out of the shower, you can grab that towel bar. And of course, there are different types of seats that you can put in either permanently or some temporary ones. This is a Wing It, the hardware that you can buy if you're going into drywall to put in your grab bars. Again, it's a do-it-yourself project. Many of the times, like mowing, if you buy a mowing grab bar, these little hardwares come with it with instructions so that you can put those in pretty simply if you've got a handyman around or a handy woman to install the wingets and then put the grab bars in at the appropriate locations. So now we come to the point of, can you take a tour of our home? Absolutely. We have a virtual tour for you. It is at udll.com. This is what it will look like. So go to the upper menu bar where it says virtual tour and click on it. You'll then be able to take your mouse from where you start and go right in the front door. Once you go in the front door, you can go all the way to the great room, into our master bathroom, master bedroom. You can go into my office. You can go into the wardrobe. You can go down to the basement, the lower level. You can actually go outside and see the gardens and the patio. So have fun. It's a 360-degree virtual tour that Google did. And the day that the photographer came, the cat was running around, and I said, "Would you like me to lock up Kiko?" And he said, "No, that's okay. Just let her roam free." So you can play a game when you go through the virtual tour and see how many times you see this little orange tabby cat, Kiko, who's just kind of sitting there in that room while the camera was clicking. So have fun with the virtual tour, share it with others also. Now, I'm going to give you a free chapter of my book, The Universal Design Toolkit. Chapter 5 is a list of the universal design features in my room by room in the whole house. So take the virtual tour with a download of chapter 5. It's free. It's a companion. Just again, go to udll.com and click on free chapter so that you can see every single room, what's in it. That's my gift to you. Now, if you like, you can go to Amazon and buy the paperback copy, or if you want it as a PDF with 16 different videos and webinars, we have that at universaldesign.toolkit.com, or you can also click on it from udll.com. So if you want the entire book, it is really goes in depth as far as the construction, the design, the detail, many chapters to help someone who is thinking about redesigning or building anew. Very comprehensive. Mark and I worked tirelessly to create this book for you. I am a speaker. If you are interested in knowing what it is that I speak about, as Carol mentioned, I speak to meeting planners about accessible meetings. I speak about the built environment for destinations, in terms of marketing a city for accessibility, and in terms of convention centers and hotels. I also am a motivational speaker, and you can see a lot of my videos and articles and information at rosemariespeaks.com. I also have a YouTube channel, so feel free. If you have your cameras out, the QR code will take you to the YouTube channel and all of my social media as well as websites.